Hello, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us. We today are going to talk a little bit about what you can expect for coming to IUPUI. So congratulations on applying. If you've been admitted, congratulations on that as well. So we're going to talk a little bit about what kind of services you can expect from the Office of International Affairs at IUPUI. We're going to talk a little bit about why some international students choose IUPUI to study, and then about housing, which is and residence life, which is a massive part of your experience here. My name is Kate Dobson. I'm Assistant Director of International Admissions here at IUPUI.
Hi everyone, I'm Julie Seaman. I am an international student advisor here at IUPUI.
Hello everyone, my name is Krishna. My major is accounting and finance. I'm a current IUPUI international student from Dubai at the Kelly School of Business.
Hi everybody, my name is Stacy McAtee and I work in housing and residence life at IUPUI.
Awesome. Thank you all to my esteemed guests. It's a rainy day here in Indianapolis and they all came over to join to talk to you all. So we're really excited to be able to present this to you. If you have any questions, feel free to enter it in the chat box as we go. If you're watching this recorded, you can always contact us. We'll give you some email addresses at the end so that you can contact us to get more information. So Krishna, I'd like to start with you. Would you tell us how long have you been here at IUPUI and what influenced your decisions to apply and then to enroll here?
Okay, so I'm a junior here at IUPUI. One of the main reasons why I picked IUPUI is because of Kelly School of Business. So basically I'll get a degree from the Kelly School of Business, which is one of the most reputed business schools. One of the reasons. Another reason was because of the cost of living. Indianapolis is very cheap compared to like all the expensive places like California and those kind of things. The cost of living is pretty low here. And lastly, it's a big reason of scholarship. Scholarship is IUPUI grants us with a very good amount of scholarship. So those were the reasons that actually motivated me to pick IUPUI.
Right, excellent. And how has your experience been so far?
My experience has been very good so far. I did not expect a lot of things coming into IUPUI, but I got way more than what I expected. Being a junior here, I've got so many opportunities, whether right now I'm an international peer mentor, an international student ambassador, so a lot of opportunities that you keep on getting once you join.
That's awesome. Can you tell us a little bit, you said international peer mentor.
Yeah.
So that's part of the IPMP, International Peer Mentoring Program. Can you tell us more about what is that?
Okay, so the International Peer Mentoring Program, this is a program that has mentors that come from different backgrounds. We are basically going to help new international students transition into IUPUI. So before you come into IUPUI, we will connect with you. Once you tick that box on Atlas, you're basically under our wing, and we help you before you come into IUPUI. But once you come to IUPUI, we have events, socials, all that fun stuff. Get you connected with different mentors, different people, to have like a good stay in IUPUI.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Julie, can you tell? So that's one of the services that's offered through the Office of International Affairs. Can you talk about what else the OIA provides students?
Yeah, so we provide a lot. The main service that my part of the office, the student services side, provides is immigration advising. So most of our international students who come in are on F1 visas. So we support our F1 students through things like making sure they're enrolled full-time each semester, doing things like internships, often called curricular practical training, as well as working post-graduation on optional practical training. We also kind of help with programming and things like that. We have a lot of great programs here at IUPUI, especially the IPMP program, highly recommended. And then we also help with things like orientation services, so when you first get here, making sure you start off on the right foot.
I love that you mentioned optional practical training, OPT, and curricular practical training, CPT, because so my job is to go out and talk to students about applying to IUPUI, and that's a question I get a lot. What are my work opportunities after I graduate? And I know that overall, for undergraduates at a university, it's 90% placement rate in jobs or graduate school, within 3 months of graduation, which is really awesome. And so your office is helping students to make sure that they're doing the paperwork in as low stress of a way as possible,
Yes.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, definitely, especially for optional practical training where you have to send something to the government. We help students through that whole system, going through the application, making sure everything looks good. And the great thing about optional practical training is that a student can get up to 12 months of work authorization after they graduate in order to expand upon the knowledge that they've learned here at IUPUI. And then certain STEM degrees as well can get an additional 2-year extension. So it's really awesome.
That's awesome. That's great news. Maybe we'll shift to Stacy, and can you talk a little bit about, we know that the housing and residence life is a massive part of particularly the first year experience. What kind of opportunities do students have for living on campus here?
Yeah, definitely. We have quite a few really good opportunities and room types for students that want to live on campus. One of our most popular buildings is University Tower, and so that would be 2 or 3 students sharing a room, and then there is a bathroom in all of those rooms, so you do get a private bathroom. Another option is one of our newer residence halls is North Hall, and we do have an option for students to have a room by themselves or have one roommate. And then some of those rooms are going to have private bathrooms. Most of those are going to be community bathrooms on the floor that you would share with maybe 10 to 15 other students. And then we do actually have apartment style, so where you could have a private bedroom, full kitchen, bathroom, and washer and dryer in the unit, and either have 1 or 2 roommates, depending on 1 or 3 roommates, depending on the room type that you got. And then in general for on campus, the benefits that you're going to get for that you wouldn't get if you live off campus are going to be your bills are all billed to your student account. So straight where your tuition and fees, where any scholarship money is going to go, it's all on that account. So it's one easy bill. We also include all of the things that you may get off campus charges as far as electricity, water, monthly charges, internet, TV service. That's all going to be included on the rent that you pay on campus. And then we also do have work and job opportunities to work in housing during the academic year as well as summer. So if you want to look for a job on campus and even live on campus during the summer, we have those opportunities too.
That's fantastic. Just as a reminder, if you're just joining us, feel free to type any questions you have in the chat box and we'll answer them. Krishna, can you talk about what was your living experience? Did you live in any of these? Yeah.
So I lived at the International House. That's a Riverwalk apartment. You want me to talk about my experience?
Yeah, what was it like? Was that so that was an apartment style, as Stacey mentioned. And who'd you live with? What'd you like about it?
So in Riverwalk Apartments, there's one house in specific. It's called the International House. I lived there for 1 semester. That was my first freshman semester. I would highly recommend anyone who actually gets that house. One of the best experiences I had so far. After that semester, I moved out to off-campus housing, but that was one of the best experiences because basically you're in a house, you're in this whole building where you have people from so many different backgrounds, all from so many different parts of the world, all coming together in one house. So I think I just learned a lot, and it was just a fun experience. Seeing everyone together was pretty nice. Along with all the other benefits, as you said, like you can get the amounts like transferred to your Bursa bill, so it helps. So you don't have to worry about housing, electricity bills, and those kind of things.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a good start to my undergraduate years.
And that's something that I hear a lot from students when I go overseas. Is one of the things they're most excited for. Obviously, strong academic programs, but meeting students from all around the world. And it sounds like you have that at the university, but at iHouse, you definitely had that experience.
Yeah.
What about how about the application process and deadline for that? Because we're sitting, as we're recording this, it's the end of February. I know students are still making up their decisions. You won't go for your visa interview for a few more months, but housing is not required as a first-year student. However, we strongly recommend it because of what you two have talked about. Can you talk a little bit more about, maybe start with Stacy, about the timeline for applying?
Yeah. So as Kate mentioned, we don't have a requirement for students to live on campus. We also will start filling up. So what we try to tell students is apply by March 15th, which this year is going to be a Sunday. at 11 p.m. Eastern to get priority consideration. So most students that are going to apply by that date are pretty good to get something on campus. If you wait until after that date, we probably will start filling up. I don't recommend though waiting and applying on that date. If you know now, once you've been admitted that you want to live on campus, you can go ahead and apply online through our housing website. And then we can put that up later so you guys can get the link to that. But if you go online as soon as you know you want to live on campus and once you've been admitted for the university, then you can hold your spot on the day that you apply. And then what we'll do is we will go through every application and try to get every student their preferences. And if for some reason your preferences that you listed on the application are full, then we'll still offer you something else that we have on campus so that you can still have a spot somewhere. And then the international house is actually an option on the application. So if you're interested in doing that or any other, we have a couple other areas where students are grouped based on their major or some other themes and social causes, then you can request that on the application so that you know in advance if you're going to be able to live in one of those communities or those living groups.
I think that is a super cool aspect of our housing. So the RBLCs, right? Can you talk, you mentioned this, but can you say what that stands for and then maybe give a few examples of some of them?
Yeah. So our RBLC, the full term for it is residential based learning communities. And what those are is they're going to be similar to International House. We group students together based on majors. We do have a Kelly community within University Tower. We have STEM for science and technology and math majors in North Hall. And then we also have some social causes like International House where major doesn't matter, but you have to have an interest in that social cause or theme for that community. And we do have them spread out through all of our residence halls and communities. So if you wanted an apartment style and also wanted to live with students that had maybe the same major or cause, then we have that option in that building. And then that is on the application. There's no additional cost for those. It's just worked into the room type and the building that you live in. And then we do have live-in staff for that. And their job is to not only get you interacting at the IUPUI campus and with other IUPUI students, but also bringing in faculty and staff maybe from your major in that area or doing programming a little bit more specific to your major or the theme that you're living there, so you get a little bit more than you would if you were just living in a general housing space that wasn't based on major or theme.
That's fantastic. That's awesome. A quick little note for our international students to take advantage of this really good opportunity for all the different housing options you have. You'll have to, some students watching this may still be in the applicant phase. You'll have to complete your full application and be fully admitted in order to do the application for housing. So if you haven't finished some of those last steps, log into your Atlas. As Krishna mentioned, log into your Atlas, finish those last steps so you can get your final admission letter and then apply for housing. Let's also talk, another very important subject is food. Can you talk about, Krishna, Stacy, whoever wants to start or jump in, about the food maybe on campus and other options off campus as well?
Gotcha. I can start off.
Yeah.
So for me, coming into my freshman first semester, we at Riverwalk Apartments, you can basically cook your own food, right? You don't exactly need to get a meal plan for Riverwalk Apartments. So that kind of helped me. You can go nearby these places like Kroger, which is basically you can get all your food supplies and everything from there. Apart from that, if you do get a meal plan, there's a lot of options over here. A lot in Campus Center, which is like the main place for this place. Then what else? We have the Tower Dining. That has a lot of options as well. And also nearby, so there's something called Indiana Avenue around this place where you have places like Delhi Palace, Tandoor and Tikka, so you can get halal options, vegetarian options, and those kind of things. Yeah.
Awesome. Is there anything you want to add?
The only thing I would probably add to that is just a note for housing. If you live in Riverwalk, like Krishna said, you have full kitchen, so you don't have to purchase any kind of meal plan. If you don't want to, they do have some options that you can kind of do both, so you can eat on campus a little bit and have some money to do that, but don't have to do a full one. But if you do pick to live in any of the other facilities on campus, you would be required to purchase the meal plan, so you definitely want to look at the on-campus options. and what the dining hall has for those buildings.
One thing I'll add too is that there are a few international grocery stores nearby as well, and I believe IPMP takes a bus trip to one every single year with the new mentors to kind of show them, because there's a bus route to it. So that's another great thing about IPMP, is that it helps students kind of connect with local community resources as well.
I think that's a great point. We haven't talked to. Oh, go ahead.
We have as mentors, we have a group of mentors that are specifically involved for you to like go for a grocery trip. So I think that happens like as you come over here, it might happen like, I guess weekly, like twice or thrice. Basically, they take you to Kroger, which is the place where you can get your food supplies. They would take you to Saraga, which is it's the international where you get all your international food supplies. So basically, since you're not used to this place, we help you a lot, like trying to get accustomed to where you can get your food supplies and those kind of things. So yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Let's ask. So we're talking a little bit about kind of when students arrive now, and maybe Julie, can you talk about what they can expect at orientation?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we're still in the planning process for orientation, but usually for undergraduates, you will have an orientation with OIA, and then there is a specific orientation with, I believe, just the general orientation staff on campus. There's like a whole separate one that you'll end up doing. And then for graduate students, again, you'll do an orientation session with OIA, and then your specific school traditionally will have its own orientation, kind of talking about the programming that you're entering, what opportunities they might have for things like working in a lab or other on-campus opportunities. We're kind of might be changing up our orientation a little bit, so I don't want to give too much away while things are still in the planning process. But it's always a great opportunity to not only connect with your fellow international students, but we have great networking opportunities, not only with fellow staff in OIA, but as well as we invite people from the different schools on campus in order to come meet the students so they can make those connections early on.
That's fantastic. That reminded me of another question about, so orientation, as you said, happens before the actual start of classes. What do students do about housing? Can they move in early before the first part of before the classes actually start?
Yeah, if you have a contract to live on campus, we do have spaces that we have available earlier than when the regular fall classes are going to start. And that would kind of be up to you as far as if you want to move in the day orientations there, if you have other arrangements made and you want to move in a little bit after. We basically leave that up to you and you can log in and request what early move-in date that you want. You do have to pay for the rent those extra days. If you look at our rate sheet, the cost online that we have for housing, that's just going to be for our regular move-in a couple days before fall classes start. But we do have that option as long as you have the contract signed for on campus, and it would be your space for the fall, so you wouldn't have to move in and then move a couple weeks later to a different space.
Awesome, that's good to know. As I mentioned, feel free to put your questions in the chat box. We don't have any questions at this point, so I think I'd like to ask you all for any tips you have, general tips, anything else I haven't asked, but maybe before I do that, did you have something you were going to say?
I'm trying to think of
something.
Okay,
yes, as we gather our thoughts, another question that I would like to ask everyone is, put you on the spot a little bit, but I get the question a lot too, why IUPUI? What's so special about IUPUI? Clearly, if you're watching this, you probably have done an application or maybe you're admitted, so you're already thinking about IUPUI, but maybe if we could each kind of talk about something that we think is special about the university. It sounds like you're ready.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Yeah, let's hear it.
I'm ready for this. I have a good answer for this actually. So IUPUI, Indiana University, Purdue University, right? So we have IU and we have Purdue. IU consists of many reputed schools, right? We have Kelly School of Business, one of the main ones over there, and we have Purdue School, which is also a very reputed engineering school. So you pretty much get the best of like both together in one campus, and it's a big campus around this place. One of the unique things about IUPUI is I feel like usually if I was in only in a business school, I would only get the benefits of learning from my peers who are also finance, accounting, marketing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But in IUPUI, we get the option of like I'm roommates with one international student from Kenya, one is from Dubai, and they are mechanical engineers. So I feel like I learned so much from them, and they learn so much from me in terms of like they learn from me in terms of like finance, accounting, and those kind of things, and I learned so much from them in terms of like mechanical engineering, those kind of things. So I just feel like this IUPUI allows us to know so much about all the different majors and what are the benefits. So for me, right, there are students over here who get a finance major and they get a major in informatics, right? They can switch around, right? They can get a minor in something and they can get a major in something. So you have so many courses, and I think that's unique. So if you want to get into something new, you want to try something new, you always have that option. So yeah, one of the most important things here.
That's hard to follow up. That's
Yeah.
a great response.
Like, oh, no.
I thought about this. I'm
Well
working
done.
on this.
Yeah, it's so nice to hear that because you've been living this
sure.
experience as a
Yeah.
student. Yeah. Do you two have anything you want to add?
I think one thing I really have liked about IUPUI, and I just, for context, I moved here in July 2019, so I'm still relatively new, but one thing that I really like about it is that it really is an urban campus, and that it's so connected with the city of Indianapolis, where there's so many things that international students, but really anyone can go do, because downtown is like right there. Like, you can go to, different sporting events. There's a street called Mass Ave that has really awesome restaurants. And so that's one thing that I've personally been really enjoying, is that you can walk right off campus and you're kind of just in downtown and there's so much to do. So,
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. They both covered all of the awesome things about here. Yeah. I mean, mine normally is I'm a little on the selective side for on-campus housing, but on top of being close to IUPUI, you live on campus, you get access to all of that. You don't need a car. There's shuttles that go all around. The airport is really close, so getting in and out of the city, and then even traveling and culture just around the area we call Midwest over here for Indiana and Illinois and some of the states that are around us. It's super easy to travel and go explore other areas. And then the cost of living, again, you can't beat it for being on an urban campus.
Absolutely. I think I would add that kind of just what you all have said, the city atmosphere plus the academics plus the support you get. We have Indianapolis is a growing tech city, believe it or not. So Salesforce is a huge tech company out of San Francisco. They decided to move their second headquarters to Indianapolis, their second office to Indianapolis. Infosys is massive in India. Their first U.S. office was here. Let's see, who else? Cummins, thank you. Roche, biomedical engineering. In all of these places, yeah, Cummins is massive. We have connections here. And for students of all backgrounds, I'm mentioning some kind of tech, computer science, engineering, but obviously they need business majors to run, to help run it. They need liberal arts majors to help them do some other aspects of their businesses. And so we see that our students have opportunities for that experience here, even in the city, but then that also takes them across the country or globally when they're graduating and looking for more opportunities. And so it's great. So I lost my train of thought. So maybe what I'll do is go around and see if, what are maybe your lasting, I think we might be wrapping up here pretty soon. So what are your main tips that you would give? And if you have anything else to add that I haven't asked, or what are your main tips for people watching this to get prepared to come to IUPUI?
I think for me is check your email. We're constantly sending out important information, not only from admissions, but as we get closer, orientation, we'll be sending out a lot of stuff. For the F1 students who are watching, remember to apply for your F1 visa as early as possible, especially going as we get closer, because this is the time when most students are coming to U.S. universities. So interview spots might be filling up. And then also remember that you can only enter up to 30 days before the program's start date on your I-20. So thinking about if you do plan on living off campus and you want to search, remember that you can only come into the United States up to 30 days before on your F1 visa. And we do have tips on our website as well. Under student services, there's a tab for F1 students, and it's a tab called Apply applying for your visa. We have tips on there if you're worried about applying for your visa. We have a lot of great information on that.
Awesome, thank you. And right now we're doing this live, but thanks in advance to our wonderful media assistant, Alex, who hopefully is gonna be able to put that link right here, so you'll be seeing it.
Yes, perfect.
Thank you. You guys, Krishna?
So a few things I want to mention. Okay, so I'm an international peer mentor, right? I think I mentioned that quite some times. But I would want any of the current students to check out 2 pages. One is on Facebook, the International Peer Mentoring Program, IUPUI. You can learn a lot about this program through it. It's hard to explain, but then there's a lot of like value that I've got from this program as a mentee and also as I've become a mentor. I've seen so much change in me. Basically, you would be getting benefits to transition, but also like benefits for your stay, right? 1 full year, you'll get connected to so many people, and there'll be a lot of networking opportunities. It has helped me a huge way. That's why I would like really suggest you guys look into it. Yeah, that would be the most important one. Yeah.
I think the biggest one for the on-campus housing is probably just a reminder that since it's not required, it is a separate process. Once you're admitted, your housing does not go at the same rate that signing up for orientation or doing any of your other visa, signing up for classes, anything else. It's not going to go on the same track. So just make sure you're keeping up with the housing dates specifically once you apply. And then we have a website, an email office that's open, and we're always here to kind of help you through that specific process. And then if at any point you've done the application and decide that that's not for you, then just let us know, because again, if we don't track where you're at in the admissions process or signing up for orientation to know whether or not you're going to move onto campus or not after you do the application.
Yeah, I think my only tip, these are the best ones. But my tip would just be reach out and ask. I mean, the good thing about a large university like this is we have specialists in every single area. The tricky thing is that sometimes you may email one person and they say, I'm not the right contact, email this other person. But what I've heard reflected from students, and you can confirm or deny, is that our staff, our faculty, our community here is super helpful. We want to help you. We want you to succeed. So just contact us and we'll connect you to the right person. So speaking of which, we kind of talked about next steps. So first, get your application finished if you haven't. The email address for any questions about that would be oaunder@iupui.edu, which hopefully is appearing right here. If you have any housing questions, do you want to give the website or the email address?
Yeah, so the easiest probably is just housing, housing.iupui.edu, and that'll take you to our homepage, and then there's a contact us link that'll have a number and an email, and then that also is going to have all of the options, those RBLCs that I mentioned for some themed or major-based living, the access to log in to do the application. It'll all be on that general website.
Awesome.
I actually want to mention about so you get a scholarship before you come over here, but something I've learned, that's why I want to let you guys know about this, is you can also get certain scholarships from your school once you come over here, that is. So like right now at this moment I'm a junior and I'm still applying for scholarships that I could possibly get. I'm talking completely about costs because that was a big key motivator for me. Apart from scholarships, there's also like working part-time jobs on campus, but that's after you apply and everything after that. And that helps also to pay the rent and those kind of things as well. So if you're thinking about cost, there's a lot of like opportunities that you could get. So.
Thank you, Krishna. I think that's really important. We didn't cover that, so thank you.
If you have any immigration questions that come up, feel free to email iadvisor@iupui.edu. You'll get sorted to one of the advisors in our office, and we can help you with any kind of general immigration questions you might have.
Awesome. And I think for any other questions about orientation or just what to expect next, how do I sign up for IPMP, that would be iwelcome@iupui.edu. So thank you so much for listening. Thank you all so much for joining. As our international student, famous last words before we say goodbye?
Live your dreams.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much. Bye,
Bye.
everyone. See you at IUPUI in the fall.